What are some evil things you've done, but got away with? Taking things from my friends' backpacks, but returning later, just to see their panic, after I casually mention it, and when they realize it's gone, pull it out. When I was 11, I slapped a girl in school. No one noticed. Then she slapped me back, and broke my spectacles and everyone saw it. I denied ever hitting her and everyone in my class stood up for me, so she got detention. But maybe karma is a thing. I got badly bullied for the next 6 years. Last day of school I went to every single toilet on campus. I locked it inside then climbed over the top so there wasn't a single stall available in the entire school. In hindsight, that was a terrible thing to do. Hope no one had the runs that day. In middle school, me and my friends had a business where they would hire people to sneak out of school and buy stuff from McDonald's, Taco Bell, Little Caesars, the gas station, Walmart, etc. So basically any store that was in a semicircle of a 0.5 mile radius. It was a black market of sorts. We would sneak out at lunch at a secret hiding place that was literally a hollow space in the trees. I was one of the main deliverers, and I got paid good. Since it was a pretty risky operation, our clients had to pay 50% tax, because the route we took usually required us to jaywalk in order to make it in time. We usually traveled in groups of 2. This lasted from the end of 7th grade to the end of 8th, not being caught once. When I was a kid, I had a friend who would shoplift small stuff from a little store, mostly small fruits, chestnuts, etc. One day, I was with her when she grabbed a bunch of chestnuts and hid them in her pockets. She convinced me to do the same. I took one chestnut from the pile and left the store with her. Then I felt so bad about it that I couldn't even eat it. But now go back and pay for it. I actually did it, lol. Days after the fact, I went to buy the usual stuff and left a few extra coins, which was more than the chestnut was worth, but I was small and hadn't figured that out yet. 6th grade. I stole a teacher's math answer book, took it home, copied all the test answers by hand, took it back to school and put it in another student's backpack. He got caught with it. He was already a troublemaker, why I chose him, and that last straw got him out into special classes. I was 8 and my school canteen sells this packets of powdered candy. I decided to buy 10 of them, and during recess I got my friends together, and we poured them in this girl's backpack. After recess the other girls in class suspected I did it, but I managed to deny it, and they didn't complain to the teacher, because they didn't know for sure who did it. In school there was this boy that was always teasing me. So one day, we were in the back of the class and I decided to hit him and he fell, and miraculously nobody witnessed it. By the next day I had already forgotten all of this. The kid complained to our teachers, but of course nobody believed him, and I denied everything. Anyway, I remembered what I'd done in the middle of the discussion. Yes, I'm that stupid, and still denied it all. At least this is how I recall it. We were 7. We did a company excursion and went away camping for a weekend. We went kayaking and had to wear a swim vest. Everyone should take one. I somehow missed it and never wear one. So later when we arrived at the waterfront on the other side of the lake they all got collected again. But since I didn't wear one I couldn't give mine back. Mine was still at the other side, but no one noticed. I was too embarrassed to say anything and didn't want to cause any problems. I don't know if my firm had to pay for it or if the kayak renting service said anything. When I was in primary school around year 1 or 2/kindergarten or 1st grade we would do show and tell, and in case you don't know what that is, which is very unlikely, you bring something in and you tell people about it and take it back home. Anyway, kids in my class would bring toys and tell us about them, and sometimes when the teacher called out whose toy it is, I would wait for a minute to see if anyone said it's theirs, and for some reason no one would say, so I would shout out it's mine, since I was a dumb greedy child. So I get up and stand in front of everyone and just say random things about the toy like it's red because I like it and it moves like this and so on. Then I just sit back down with the toy, not giving any crap that I just stole a random child's toy, and just wait for everyone to show their toy and move on. Then the day would end. and I got a new toy. I have no idea if the kid was sitting and watching me talk about their toy and not knowing what to do, or if they were at the bathroom. I think I only did it twice and got away with it somehow, and I just stopped. If you're the kid that I stole the toy of you, I'm sorry, I'm not like that anymore. When I was 10 or 11, I used to ride my bike in a retention ditch near a daycare center. One day, I found a dead fish in the center's parking lot, and I rolled it up in their welcome mat and put it through their mail slot, where it sat over the weekend. Turned out that the daycare center was for special needs kids, and several of them had to go to the hospital when it opened on Monday because of the stench. Not very evil, but a teacher annoyed me, so I put tape at the bottom of his mouse, not the animal mouse, before those comments happened, and I watched as he unplugged and hit it against the table. He spent at least 5 minutes trying to figure out what was happening. He was trying so hard to make sure that the class doesn't see his annoyance. He still doesn't know it's me. Foo, I feel horrible for this. I was in 6th grade and sparkly gel pens were incredibly popular at the time. I was one of a few who had some, and my friend asked to borrow them and then didn't give them back. This enraged me. After lunch, it was customary for her to also ask to drink my bottle of water, as she never brought one, and it was always 110 degrees during recess. I filled my water bottle up full of toilet water and waited until after lunch. I asked for my pens back, and she giggled and continued writing notes. Eventually she reached down and grabbed my water bottle, unscrewed the lid, and took a big ol' chug. The look on her face said she knew she was drinking pissy ass water. She immediately raised her hand and told the teacher, to which the teacher didn't believe that anyone would do such a thing. I got my gel pens back the next day and we no longer shared water after that. I'm sorry, Jessica. Stealing and lying. This started when I was 12 or so and continued until early 20s. I'm about to be 30 soon. I'm not proud of it, but I really enjoyed the money and the adrenaline. I never got caught, but at a certain point I felt super guilty because I did that on certain family members I'm not going to mention. Since then, I'm a pretty good liar. I can get a whole story in my head with facts I heard or things that actually happened. I have never ever been caught. Years ago, a cousin who was staying with our aunt took a small framed painting that had belonged to our grandmother. I happened to stay at my aunt's house a few months later during an extended training course. Then this cousin had a weekend party at her house and invited my aunt and me. I sneaked into her bedroom and stole the little painting back. My aunt was mad at me for stealing it because she thought 2 wrongs don't make a right, but she was madder at my cousin for taking it first. I was at a friend's house and his cousin was over, and his aunt was really strict and kind of unhinged. My friend's cousin said a bad word and my friend's aunt said, "If you day one more cuss, I'm washing your mouth out with soap." So we're fooling around playing Mario Party I think, and this kid was annoying me the whole time. One mini game I win, and the cousin says, "Damn, you beat me." So I go, "Huh? What did you say?" And he says, "Damn, you beat me." So I go, "I can't hear you." And he screams at the top of his lungs, "Damn, you beat me." So my friend's aunt comes raging in the room screaming, "What did you say?" And he starts crying immediately, "Oh no, I didn't mean it." And she goes, "That's it. You're getting your mouth washed out with soap." And the cousin starts bawling. The scene after that moment was like when you overhear waterboarding torture in a movie, and I immediately regretted what I did. When he came back, he sat down and just cried for like 30 minutes. He was basically inconsolable. We were really young, so no one really understood what I did, but I knew, and the guilt has stuck with me ever since. In middle school or high school, Pokemon cards had just come out and were a big thing. My friend had a giant hoard of them, and I think a Pokemon game or two, but maybe that was later. Anyway, every day on the school bus to school and back, he'd pull out his cards and show them all off. I'd take a handful and look at them closer, slipping 1 to 7 out of his over 400 Pokemon cards he always brought to brag about under my thigh, waiting until his stop, which was before mine, and pocketing them all. He'd also give me a lot of his copies for free because he trusted me. Fast forward 2 years, and I had over 250 of his Pokemon cards. He also constantly got new packs every day, so the missing amount was never readily apparent. He had a Mega Blaziken X card which he coveted dearly. I stole it and convinced him he lost it on the bus. He looked everywhere for it, and when he couldn't find it, he was led off the bus by his mom and the bus driver, crying. He didn't come to school the next 2 days. He was so upset. Finally, I was so guilty I confessed to him and gave him everything back except the Mega Blaziken X. I snuck that into his backpack after I confessed. I then forgot about the incident and kept wondering why he stopped hanging out with me. My mind is kinda blurry on memories from back then, so this may be a little different than I remember, but yeah, my absolute most evil memory that I'm incredibly guilty about